Hello everyone. Our today discussion is about the applicable laws on the technology startups in Pakistan. There are certain laws which are applicable depending on your business, depending on the nature of transaction, and depending on the category you are in. We can broadly divide them into four current categories. Number one, the laws which are applicable depending on your legal structure. So when you are going to register your business, there are certain laws which are applicable when you start hiring your employees. So there are certain labor laws that you have to comply. And there are laws which are applicable when you start your revenue streams, which means the taxation. So there are direct and indirect taxation applicable on the technology startups. And there are general laws which are applicable on the businesses working in the electronic stream. And there are some laws which are related to fiscal discipline imposed by the State Bank of Pakistan. So if we discuss the first category, the categories of laws which are applicable depending on your legal status as the time of registration. So there are normally four broader category of the type of registration you can opt for your business. Like first one is the working as a sole proprietorship. Second one is the working as a unlimited partnership. Third one is the limited liability partnership. And fourth one is the companies Act 2017 applicable on the businesses registered as a company. There are subcategories as well under the company law. You may register as a single member company, multi-member company, private limited and a public limited company. But broadly, the law is same when you are registered as a corporate entity under the Companies Act 2017. Overall, the concept is same that these laws deal with the process of registration of business and the governing rules when a business is registered, how the affairs of the business will be taken care of, like the meetings of the members and the dealing with the outside entities, when entities are required to get the financial statement audited, when you have to report to authorities. Like for a companies who is registered under the Companies Act, they have to report their financial statements and the annual corporate, and if their paid up capital is more than 1 million rupees. Although this is not applicable for the partnerships which are registered under the Partnership Act and the sole proprietorship, for which he has to report to no one for your audited financial statement. So these are the four laws which you have to read or get a brief from someone when you started or when you are trying to select the most suitable option for registration of business. The second one is the labor laws. So once you are registered with any authority, the next step is to hire your employees. So there are certain regulations which are applicable when you start hiring your employees. These are some laws applicable from the federal government and some are applicable or imposed by the provincial government. If we list it, so these are the West Pakistan Industrial and Commercial Employment Standing Order 1958, which deals with the fines, damages, and the execution of contract between the employer and the employee. Then is the Employees Old Age Benefit Act that deals with the post-retirement benefit, and there is a Workmen Compensation Act that deals with the employee and employer contract as well. And then there is a Minimum Wages Ordinance 1961. So there are certain minimum wages fixed by each provincial government. Like recently, it is around 34,000 per month for a skilled labor. There is the Payment of Wages Act 1936. Then there is a Provincial Employees Social Security Ordinance 1965. And these are the broadly applicable laws when you start hiring your employees. There are certain conditions, some of them may be applicable, some of them may not be applicable. But it all depends that once you are in business, you have to take care and you have to make an informed decision that, okay, these are the applicable laws. Out of these applicable laws, this set of laws is applicable on me, and out of the applicable laws there are certain conditions which are applicable, there are certain conditions which are not applicable. So because informed decision, this is the way you can avoid yourself from penalties and non-compliance issues that may be material once they prop up by the government authorities. And there are also two other labor laws. There is Workers Welfare Fund and Workers Profit Participation Fund, which are applicable when your company is in profit. So these are the overall labor laws which you have to taken care of when you start hiring your employees into your business. Now, the third category is the taxation laws. So, we can divide the taxation laws into two subcategories. One is the direct taxation, and another one is the indirect taxation. Under the direct taxation, there is income tax law, which is broadly applicable on all the businesses in Pakistan, whether you are working within Pakistan or whether you are working as an exporter of services and products outside of the Pakistan. It deals with your taxes on the income. So sometimes it is applicable on the profitability, but broadly for technology companies which are in export sector, it is applicable on the revenue. Right now, it is 1% of the revenue applicable to all the exports if you are not registered with the Pakistan Software Export. But if you are registered with the Pakistan Software Export Board, the law is very minimum. It is only 0.25% of your export proceeds. And there are some indirect taxation, which is normally sale tax. This is federal, but it is also the provincial chapter as well, because the services are deal with the provincial chapter. So if you are working in the service sector like the IT enabled services or providing digital services, whether within Pakistan or outside Pakistan, you have to take care of which law is applicable. If you have an office registered in Islamabad, there is a Federal Capital Services Act, and if you have registered office in any of the province, so there are separate services taxation act by each province. So you have to see which law is applicable. But if you are in exporter services, the services tax is not applicable on your revenue. And the businesses who are dealing with the local services, they have to pay the sale tax on their revenue. This is normally applicable as a percentage of your revenue. Like in Punjab, it is 5% of your revenue for the IT services. And this is normally charged to the customer and is recovered from the customer and paid to the government authorities. Now come to the fourth category, which is a general category for the applicable laws when you are dealing in a technology startup. So first one is the Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act 2016, the Copyright Ordinance 1962, the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1947, Anti-Money Laundering Act 2010, and there is an Appointment of Legal Advisor Act 1974, which is applicable only for the business registered as a company. Then is the Competition Act 2010. So these are the categories, these are the laws listed in the general categories. So if you number, so minimum there are 18 laws applicable for you if you are registered as a startup in technology sector in Pakistan. So once you have started your business, what you have to do, you have to make a list, whether by yourself or by your financial advisor or your legal advisor, to list down what are the applicable laws, when they will become applicable, and what are the provisions that you have to comply, and how you have to comply. Because in some sectors or in some laws, you have to send the report or statement every month. And there are some report and statements every quarter. And there are some reports and statements at the end of the financial year. So you have to make a book of applicable laws and regulations which you have to comply with, provide any penalty and avoid any issue or non-compliances. Thank you very much for your time. If you need any further information, you may text me or message me on my social media platforms. Thank you very much.